Fred, where does the Black Panther Party stand concerning the Weathermen, the SDS?
We stand way back from the SDS and the Weathermen because we believe that the Weathermen action is two actions. It's RIM 2 and Weathermen. We think they call them both national action. We think that RIM 2 is national action, Weathermen is national reaction, you know. We think it is anarchistic, opportunistic, individualistic, it's chauvinistic, it's customistic, and that's the bad part about it. It's customistic in that its leaders take people into situations where the people can be massacred, and they call that revolution. And it's nothing but child's play, it's folly, and it's criminal because people can be hurt. We say that they're doing exactly what the pigs want them to do. When they take people down and just do nothing, play around, and the pigs are prepared for this, and they'll wipe all of those young people out. We think these people may be sincere, but they're misguided, they're muddleheads, and they're scatterbrains. The only way we can show them is to criticize them like we're doing right now, and then leave from here and go to the federal building and have a demonstration that's to educate, a demonstration that is disciplined and organized, you know. And that's what we're going to have to do, and let them see the examples.
Tell me why you feel the approach of the SDS Weatherman is wrong.
I feel it is wrong, just as I said before.
No, don't tell me just you said before. That's why I asked you again. Just answer it straight, because in case we use this part.
I feel that it's
Let
wrong.
me ask you again. Why do you feel that the approach of the SDS Weatherman is the wrong approach?
I feel that it's wrong because it's pig action. You see, they're doing exactly what the pigs want them to do. They're leading people into a situation where it's an astronomical situation, too great for the people to deal with. It's a situation where you got a bunch of mechanical pigs with 357 Magnums and shotguns and mechanical mace and all that type of thing. And then they're talking about they're going to carry on a revolutionary struggle. That's not revolution. It's insanity. It's madness. It's nostalgia, and it's a massacre. That's what it's potential massacre. That's what it is. And we don't support that because we've said all power to the people. All the power is manifested in the people. We don't have any people whose lives we believe that should be thrown away.
Has the Weatherman SDS tried to get you to go on their side? Have you met with them, and what happened?
We met with the Weatherman faction of SDS several times. We've had ideological struggles, and we have ideological differences. So what we did was we had the other faction of SDS that agreed with the Black Panther Party called for an alternate action, a well-disciplined action not to provoke pigs, an action not to talk about setting up confrontations with the pigs, because the people are not ready for confrontation. These confrontations that they have are premature. They're politically premature, and they're wrong because they commit people in a situation which they're not anywhere prepared for.
Well, why do you think the Weatherman SDS tried to link the Black Panther Party to its movement?
I don't know if it was actually the Weathermen of SDS. I'd have to say that it was the establishment press that is nothing but a tool of Warden Nixon's machine. We call him Warden Nixon because the whole world is a penitentiary, and he's just a warden of the whole world. And you see, these people are just an arm that he uses for fascist oppression, you know. And I think today these fascist news media might have did that.
Now, briefly, how would you sum up what the Weatherman SDS is trying to do and what you think of what they're trying to do?
I'd say that basically they believe that white people need to learn how to struggle, that they believe that these white workers need to learn how to struggle through confrontations. I'd have to say that basically I believe that this is incorrect. I believe that white workers have been struggling. They're some of the most violent people in the world. I believe that what they need is they need a redirection in their ideology and in their politics. They need to know who to struggle against. The workers need to start to begin to learn that their job is to struggle against the bosses. And until they do this, then struggle is incorrect. It's like no struggle at all. We said that if you don't struggle correctly, you shouldn't struggle. But you should struggle. We said dare to struggle and you dare to win. Dare not to struggle and you don't deserve to win. But we have to struggle properly.
What about the special approach of Weatherman, which seems to be violence?
Well, you see, I don't think it's really violence, you know what I mean? I think it's just a lot of folly, it's a lot of child's play. I think that to have violence, you've got to be able to cope with violence, you know what I mean? And that's what the Black Panther Party, a lot of people say we're violent. We're a self-defense organization that believes that the people should be educated to what's going on. Yes, we do defend our offices and we do defend our homes. This is a constitutional right. Everybody has, there's nothing funny about that. The only reason they get mad at the Black Panther Party when they do it is for the simple reason that we're political. And they don't want to admit this. There are a lot of young organizations around, but we are a political organization. We're an organization that understands that politics is nothing but war without bloodshed, and war is nothing but politics with bloodshed. That it's just like you stretch something and it goes, you can stretch things, they're going to be in another thing. If you stretch politics so long, it'll be war. And that's where we're at.
Well, then why do you feel it's so important for the Black Panther Party to disavow any real link with the Weathermen SDS?
I think it's important because there are a lot of people that watch the Black Panther Party for examples. They observe us and participate with us. And if we can be connected up with this, then it will be very unadvantageous to the people and very unadvantageous to the struggle, in that people that claim to be revolutionary would be going down roads that they think might be revolution, but in fact they're not roads of revolution. They'll be going east when their intentions are going west. And also it's important because Chairman Bobby Seale is in town, and he's being tried by this fascist judge Adolf Hitler Hoffman, and he's being tried without a lawyer. And we've got to bring all of the attention and focus on this trial that we possibly can, so that people can understand that these people are more capable of building gas chambers than Hitler ever was capable of building gas chambers. And we're going to have to get together. We're going to have some anti-gas chamber marches, and some anti-fascism marches, and some anti-Hitler Hoffman marches, and some anti-Mussolini Attorney General Mitchell marches, and some anti-Daley and some anti-Hammerhead marches. These are the things we're going to have to do. The people need to be educated. If they're educated, we can resist and we can stop this fascism.
Okay. All right. Thanks for giving us the second shot. Okay. Good.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Family, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Black Business Showcase on Sincere Love, the Godcast. I am the God, Sincere Love, and this is my Cali Country co-host, Nicety Girl in the building. How you doing on this Thanksgiving Day, beloved?
I'm doing good here in Las Vegas, visiting my daughter and my sister.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How's everybody doing out there?
Everybody doing good. It's cold out here too. It's 45 degrees.
Oh, is it that cold in Vegas?
Yeah, it's cold.
Man.
Now, what's funny though, I can't see you.
And you freezing up a little bit.
Oh man.
Just a little bit. You look good right now.
Thank
Everything
you.
looks good now. You can't see me?
Nope.
But we can see you. Can everybody see? Can everybody see Nicety Girl in the chat? Put number one in the chat if you can see her and you can hear her, and you can see me and hear me pretty good too. Let us know by putting a number one inside the chat, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this on Facebook, I can't see you. I don't think I could see the Facebook family. I don't know if they put it all in one chat. So tonight, this is our first time going live on. Everybody saying they can see you, but this is our first time going live on YouTube and Facebook at the same time.
Wow.
So let me know in the chat if you're watching us from Facebook or if you're watching us from YouTube, so I could be able to tell if there's a difference in the chat. But all I see is one chat stream on my side.
Me too.
But they're saying that everybody can see you though. Everybody's putting number one.
If they can see me, that's fine.
Okay. Hopefully we get that fixed up though. We're having a little technical issues once again. But like I said, family, we got another great episode of the Black Business Showcase ahead tonight. And of course, I wanted to open up the show with that brief war briefing. Shout out to Vicky Dillard from the great chairman, Fred Hampton. I think the jewels that he was dropping in that little interview was definitely relevant to the conversation that we're going to be having tonight. We're going to be talking about gun safety, gun laws, and just, how to deal with weapons, firearms in general. You know what I'm saying? We got a firearm specialist coming on to teach us, some of the things that we need to know concerning that Second Amendment, you know what I mean? So that we all can be in a position to defend ourselves, to defend our families.
Right.
And I think, what Fred Hampton was talking about in there was, he was making it a point to differentiate what the Panthers was about versus some of the other groups that was out there at the time who were lacking in discipline,
right,
who were looking like controlled opposition to a certain degree. And we still seeing that out there today with some of these groups, some of these armed militias that we see that like to go out to these protests and get in front of the cameras. And I ain't gonna say no names on here, nothing like that, but some of y'all know what we'll be talking about. Some of these groups that's out there is looking like controlled opposition today as well. And so I thought that was a relevant clip to play for tonight's Black Business Showcase. And so let's go on ahead and get into it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce our guest. We got our brother Keith Jerald coming on the Black Business Showcase tonight. Welcome welcome to the Black Business Showcase on Sincere Love the Godcast. Appreciate you being here, brother. How you doing?
Peace and love, family. How y'all doing, man? I'm awesome. A little full,
Right.
but I'm good right now, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I think everybody should be full at this time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody probably had a chance to eat, have their seconds, and all of that good stuff. So,
Right.
so what about now? Nice D, can you see us?
I can see Keith. I cannot see you.
Oh wow, wow. That's how they're gonna play it.
Wow. All right.
That's
It's
how
gonna
they
be one or the other tonight, huh?
Right.
So I know you probably hear this all the time, but I gotta say this. It's like the elephant in the room right now. But you look like my brother from Black Lightning.
Man.
you look like Tobias from Black Lightning.
Tobias.
One of my
Yeah, I get that.
favorite villains, by the way.
Yep. And I take that as an ultimate compliment. That's Marvin Jones, aka Cron Don,
Yep.
one of the best rappers out there. Strong,
Yep.
strong arm, steady crew. I love that dude.
Yeah, so you've been hearing that your whole life.
Pretty much. he's a badass on the show, so I mean that doesn't hurt at all.
Right.
Facts. I love that show, man. I love that show. Even though they squeeze a little bullshit agenda in there, whatever the case may be. They got to do that. You know what time it is with that.
Right.
But man, appreciate you taking the time, especially on this holiday, to come on with us and share some of the insight and information that you got for us concerning firearms and self-defense and all of that. So what's the name of your companies? Let everybody know.
All right. So I actually have my own personal firearms business, which is NWA Firearms Training and Defense. And also I started Iron City Gun Club here in Birmingham, Alabama. So NWA, when most people hear NWA, what's the first thing you think about?
Niggas with attitude.
Niggas with attitudes.
And so I like the fact that it's a double entendre, because if you wanted to be that, it can't be that. But it actually stands for Never Walk Alone. And that comes from the 23rd Psalm, chapter 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. I walk around with my sidearm, and I got my pistol. I mean, I got my AR somewhere close. So that's my rod and my staff. But I mean, I'm a very spiritual person, and so I believe that as long as you're walking with God, you're never alone. But it never hurts to have something with you if you need to maintain some peace. You got your peace to maintain peace.
Absolutely.
Right. Peace be still.
Exactly. And peace can be a piece of steel. Shout out to Tyler Perry. And Iron City Gun Club is actually the Birmingham, Alabama chapter of NAGA, which is the National African American Gun Association. And so at one point, I mean, I'll get into the business behind that, but it was basically at one point I heard about NAGA. I mean, background and history on myself. I mean, I've been shooting guns since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
And I got to, it wasn't a love, it was more of a respect, because my dad was in the Army. Both sides of my family had military in it. So I was around guns and around me like it was nothing. It's just learn how to respect them. And then the more and more I grew older, the more I realized that that wasn't necessarily the norm, because the media always want us to portray guns in the Black family as being wrong or illegal or whatever. And so they're constantly portraying that same stereotype. I didn't grow up like that. So I've been carrying a gun since I was legally able to. And after a while, it was just something that I did, but it never really took precedent on my life for real. I was a car salesman for 14 years. And I always went to the range like at least maybe once or twice a week just to blow off steam. And though when I went to the range, I never really saw Black people there for real. And even if I did, it wasn't necessarily like seeing gun safety things and stuff like that just weren't taught. It was just all about what you've seen in movies, what you've seen on TV or whatever. So you get the side holding and all that stuff. And I'm like, let me go this way. So it got to a point to where, I mean, I was still in the car business until COVID happened. I think COVID had a change on everybody's life in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So the dealership that I was working at the time actually furloughed half the staff, from sales to service to everything. So I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs just like everybody else. I'm like, what can I do? And so the range never closed. So I'm like, okay, I can still do this. And so one day I was on the internet and I found out about NAGA, National African American Gun Association. I'm like, oh, a Black organization that's about the education, safety, and training of Black people. Bet I'm in. What do I sign up? So I signed up nationally and I said, okay, let me find a local chapter. And I looked around, there was no chapters in the state of Alabama at all.
Wow.
So I
Not
looked,
surprising.
so I had a choice. I have either to drive 2 hours east going to Atlanta, which is not bad, to actually go and hook up with Bass Reeves, or I'm looking at a city that I'm living in that's one of the cornerstones of the civil rights movement. I'm looking at a metro area of being 79% African American. I'm looking at being one of the cities that was filmed Force 48. And I'm like, why don't we have something that can alter that or kind of help out with that? Because I mean, if you're only going to see one thing and you don't see the other side, you're going to always get the same connotation about Black people with guns. So I said, okay. I got one of my homeboys at the time. And I said, hey, I just joined NAGA. You want to join? He's like, yeah. Signed up on the phone with me right then. Then I said, you want to start a gun club here? Bet. So we came with Iron City Gun Club. Iron City, well, Birmingham is known as being the Iron City. So just brought that along. So that's been ever since 2000, since June of 2020. Yeah. And so we've been constantly growing. Now we have not one, but 4 different chapters in the state of Alabama. So
Awesome.
it's constantly growing or whatever. So after a while, I mean, starting a gun club from scratch was, it was crazy. So I tried to help the other presidents along as they were coming. So Nationals hit me and said, hey, you want to be state director? Hey, I'll take it. I'm doing it anyway. So I mean, it's all about still having that same vision. So now I'm the state director that God, how I hate talking about myself because it felt like I'm bragging,
Well, that's
but
what this is for.
it's I know that I've accomplished a lot like in the
in a
past
short
15
period
months.
of time. In a
Right.
short period of time.
But that
So
also just goes to show that it was needed, right? It was
right.
it was actually a lane for that, and people probably were starving for it. So you were a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and the way that I look at it from a civics perspective, I'm like, we definitely need this type of this type of avenue here in the city. Business mind was like, I don't know any other Black firearms instructors in the state in the city. Ding, ding, ding. Business venture.
Absolutely.
And so, kind of find out, I wasn't the only one at the time, and the other guy that we had been passing each other like in passing along, but we never knew what each other did. And so now he's my director of training protocol, one of my good my brother Clinton Babels. And so I mean it's been a crazy ride. So going from establishing a gun club to, okay, if I said I'm going to be the president of this gun club, is one thing to say that you know what you know, and it's another thing to have that piece of paper to say that you know what you say that you know.
Especially with our people.
Absolutely.
Paper means something.
Yeah. So we established in June. I became a USCCA firearms instructor in August of 2020. And I just kept working and grinding and working and grinding and working and grinding until USCCA actually sent out an invite to become a training counselor, which means that you can actually certify other instructors. So as of March of this year, I became a USCCA training counselor. So I can actually empower more people to become instructors.
Awesome.
And I got my staff, like the majority of my staff, I'm kind of working along, whatever. So we're constantly moving, constantly growing. Because I mean, I didn't want to just say, well, I'm the end all be all as far as firearms instruction. I want to make sure I bring people along with me. So I definitely have my women's division. Sherry Shine, she's an awesome firearms instructor. Sheesh, I'm starting naming folks. My VP, Jeremy Golson. I mean, I have a real sincere family around me, and so we just still constantly building whatever. And the fact that we've been doing all this stuff in 18 months, I mean, I have to look back. I'm like, damn, we have really done a lot.
For
Focus.
But I know I still got a long way to go, but we definitely on the right track.
So how are you guys bringing in, say, young people, teens, right? Because
Oh,
some do
absolutely.
it for hunting, but also if something did go down in the home, and if mom or dad are down, how does a child or teenager, learn, to protect and defend? Do you guys do that as well?
Absolutely. I truly believe in that. Because I mean, like I said, I started when I was 8 years old. And so it just really depends on the maturity of your child. But if
Yeah.
you as a parent feel like your child can actually handle it, I mean, you can start firearm safety. Like if your child has a water gun, they can learn firearm safety rules. Keep your
Right.
finger off the trigger, never point at anything that you're not prepared to destroy, treat all firearms as if they're loaded. You can start doing that from a very early age. And then from there, you just slowly progress up and up and up. So by the time you get to be a teenager, you should be very well versed.
Right.
And I just look at it as a life skill.
It is. It is. I got my son started at 13 with Redstone. Actually, Jonathan and Geneva Solomon has trained him in firearms. And so
So,
he got a summer job at one point and decided, Mom, I want to buy my own and all this stuff. I was like, hold on. You can wait for all that. But, but he loves it. I love how they give him a lot of one-on-one time, on the side and stuff, like, so he just he fell in love with it, but he does understand safety first. He understands that, he knows how to check to see if it's loaded. He understands if a magazine is in or not, how to break it down, everything from them.
awesome.
Sound like you know a thing or two too.
A little bit.
You stuck in a couple of things that I don't think I didn't notice.
For real, for real. So, man, you said a lot already. Like you answered a lot of questions that I had,
Right.
and so not only did you accomplish a lot in a short period of time, but you just squeezed a lot of information right there in that little intro right there. So, where do you go from here? You said you still got a long way to go, being that you accomplished so much so early. What's the next steps, and how far do you plan to take it?
I'm really not putting any limits on this, man, because well, I'll say 2020 was just the formation year saying, okay, we got our city gun club. We're trying to get the LLCs and all that stuff taken care of as far as that's concerned. Then I spent this year getting myself to a level where I wanted to be as far as being an instructor, being a training counselor, and then I just became a NAGA certified instructor 2 weeks ago on my birthday. So while
Wow.
everybody out going out partying for birthdays, whatever, I'm sitting in the classroom. So but I'm looking at the ultimate goal. I wanted to have the trifecta this year. I fell short of the NRA pistol certification, but I mean that's still to come. But my ultimate goal is to really get people start training. I had to start establishing like relationships with ranges around here because it was it's one range in particular. I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but it's one range in particular here in the city that let's just say when black people go in there, they don't feel really welcome.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, and I hate to say, but that's almost kind of typical with some gun ranges.
A lot.
So it's more my thing to establish that relationship, to kind of be that conduit between and saying, okay, here's my credentials, here's my insurance, here's all this other stuff. I can take care of this. So instead of them having to deal with the range owners or whatever, I'll take them under my wing and say, hey, you with me, you good. And
Right.
then we go and train, whatever. But eventually I want to get to the point of I'm in the process of looking for land to actually build our own range eventually. So
Good.
and it's a slow process, but I mean, I got enough. I mean, thankfully, I've had enough people behind me to say, "Hey, we got this. We can do this. We good. We can get this done." And so that keeps me motivated. So
Indeed.
my main job for next year is to start really going hard with training, as far as making sure that everybody that wants a class is able to get a class. Doing community service work. I've done some free classes for some churches around,
Wow.
doing Zoom classes and all that stuff just to be able to get the word out.
Right.
And just continuing on with that part because I'm looking like, okay, now I got all the paperwork done. Now let's really get to work.
Right. Right. So do you do both, of course, safety, getting people certified? Do you also do combat training, tactical type of training as well?
I do a little bit, but thankfully I have learned a lot from mentors that I still go through. And so if it's something that I feel like I can handle, I got plenty of other people say, hey, I need you for this. I need some help out with this class. I need help with this class. So while my students are learning, I'm learning too. So I didn't want to just be like, I'm the president. If you don't learn it from me, you don't learn it from nobody. No.
Right.
Oh, I want to make sure I have as many available resources as possible.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
are
I
you
mean,
when you're on the range, are you strict too? Like, are you allowed to say clip or do you have to say magazine?
I will make you run laps.
Right.
Like as my students, I will make you run laps. And it's only because when we're in the class, you always go to the classroom first with me before you ever think about going to a range. And so in that, I talk about the proper terminology. What is a clip? What is a magazine? Because there are certain things. There is a certain thing as a clip, but you would probably never touch one
Right.
because it's not for most guns that most people normally have. So if you refer to one thing and the wrong thing, hit it. And that's only
I've
because,
learned the hard way, trust me.
and that's only
Now,
to really reinforce. So it's not anything like I'm just being a drill sergeant, but I look at the ultimate goal of when you go into gun stores and like, hey, let me get that stendo clip, well, and not really getting the respect that you would as somebody else. If you come in, it's just all about the visuals and the verbiage of what you say. I want you to be able to be as prepared when you walk into that gun store as possible.
indeed.
So I'm gonna drill it into you by one way or another.
Now, can you tell us what's the difference between a magazine and a clip?
Yes.
A clip is for your
Um,
hair.
Yeah, let us. Yeah,
Add
yeah,
some
yeah.
visual aids. All right. So
Actually, I'm here today because I'm I have my license for about 38 states, I believe, myself. But this is a magazine.
absolutely. And I'm gonna give you a
Oh,
quick quiz
yeah, I
since
see.
I think you might know a little bit. Why is it a magazine?
I forgot. I
Run a lap.
forgot.
Run a lap.
Run a lap.
All right. So all right, proper way to know is a magazine will always be enclosed. So you do have what's called a clip, which is like a stripper clip that will actually go into certain rifles to where they'll actually be open. So if you've ever seen, the best way I can kind of say it, like you've seen the belt that Rambo wears all the time where there's
Yeah.
exposed,
Mhm.
that can be that's a form of a clip.
Oh,
If they're
Oh.
exposed, and if you'll see the little long one, like normally I have one at my desk, but there's a it's a piece of plastic that each round is in.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
So if it's exposed, that's a clip. If it's enclosed, it's a magazine.
Wow. Okay. I just
I,
learned something. I did not know
I
that.
did too because I'm just not allowed to say the word clip, period. I'm running, I'm doing push-ups. I just erase clip from my vocabulary and I just say it's for your hair.
But exactly, but that's what the army teaches you, well, or the military teaches you.
Yeah.
Like clips are for hair, but I mean there are certain guns that once you really get deep into this thing, you have guns that run clips. You have ones that are, I mean, the terminology fits in certain ways, but just
Right.
not in the way that you're using it at that particular time. So I
Right.
want you to my first priority is to be an educator. So I'm going to educate you in what to say, and if you don't get it the first time, we'll figure out a way for it to actually stick. Whether you
Right.
got to write it down or you got to run, whichever way you got how to do it,
Right.
we're gonna do it.
Now, do you have a preference for a particular firearm, or does it depend on the situation, or what?
Ooh, it really depends on the situation, but my personal favorite, what the old folks say, you dance with the one that brought you to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
You dance with the one that brought you. I have my professional career has been with Canics. So I absolutely love Canics. You can't they're one of the best out of the box guns you can possibly get as far as triggers, as far as sights, as far as everything. And they're not expensive. So that if anybody asks me what is my personal thing, is that's Canics. But again, guns are like tools. You're gonna have different tools for different things. I'm not gonna walk around with my shotgun talking about that's my everyday carry.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not gonna happen. Either
But
that or I'm
that
gonna
don't
have
mean
something to
that don't mean you
expose.
ain't got love for the shotty though.
Absolutely. It's different. It's different tools for different jobs.
Yeah.
So I'll just say, just really, if it's going to be home defense, is it going to be personal protection? Is it going to be a ranged toy or something like that? And I hate saying toys because they're all weapons and they all should be
Right.
respected. But if you say a ranged tool, better yet, something that you just strictly going to be for the range. There are different ones for different things. So it just really depends on what you're using it for.
So, some people might get into it for, just safety, or some people might get into it just for sport. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it just
Right.
depends. It depends on what your motivation is, what you're trying to learn this for. You know what I mean? And that will, I guess, determine your weapon of choice. But I would think most people would want to be pretty well rounded and know how to handle different types of firearms.
Yeah. And once you really get into it, it's easy to fall down this rabbit hole because I can't tell you how many basic shooters that I've had that come through and taking classes. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this, and have gone far and beyond what I ever thought they would really do first coming in. As far as like being scared to touch a gun, you be on the range and you hear something, you just jump in or something like that. Now they want some of my top shooters. And so
Yes.
it just
Yeah.
Wow.
really depends on what you're using it for. And just once you get over that barrier, over that hump, and saying, okay, I have control over this. I trust my instructor and I trust what he's taught me and the fact that what he's saying is actually true. Okay, I can
Right.
relax a little bit. Oh, this is starting to get, I'm enjoying this a little bit. Oh, what's that one? I want to try that one. And the snowball goes from there.
Yeah.
Now, were you like that at first, Nicety? Were you were you
I
were you
was.
one of those? And
No, I was trying to show out, but my son was, so he needed a little. Honestly, I was not scared of it. Of course, being trained the proper way and linking up with Redstone the way that I did. The first thing before you even start, shooting targets is all safety first. So you're sitting down, what I'm saying, and we're going through the firearm. What's what on the firearm? So because of all of that, once it was time to actually walk out on the range and shoot at the targets, I was very comfortable. Of course, the kickback, that kind of like, wow, like I didn't know it was going to do that. But once they teach you the proper way to, hold the firearm and stuff like that. And obviously different firearms have different types of kickback, some not much at all, but once you get over, I think it's the way they taught, I didn't have that fear. I was ready when I went out to shoot. I was ready
so that would
and
be
comfortable.
that would be like probably the two extremes of people that you come across. One would be the person that's scared and timid and don't want to touch the guns, and the other person who's a little bit overzealous and just happy-go-lucky and just not dealing with no type of safety. How do you deal with those two people and break them in and get them in the middle where they need to be? Like, do you have a specific protocol?
Yeah. So what I do with the ones that are definitely like afraid of guns, before they come in, I don't have anything around, but I'll take one gun complete, I'll field strip one, and I have them pick up each one of the parts and saying, does this hurt you? No. Does that hurt you? No. No. Does that hurt you? No. Okay, so if I put it back together, as any part you said any of that didn't hurt you, so go ahead and pick it up. Once they get to pick it up and that fidget starts to even out a little bit, okay, I can work with you. And so we just start going from there. Now, the ones that get a little overzealous, I was like, hey, I don't know what you did there before you walked into this classroom, but this ain't that. You
Right.
came in to learn the proper way. And so you're not going to put my life in danger. You're not going to put anybody else's life in danger because that's my number one priority, safety by any means. So I don't want to threaten anybody or anything like that, but I always tell everybody before we start class, I'm leaving with the same amount of holes in my body as I came in with.
All
So
right.
it's up to you how you want to handle this. So, but again, just getting them calmed down and the classroom part of it really kind of calms everything down.
Yeah.
And saying, okay, before we really get into the range, let me get into the terminology and all this stuff. And that kind of breaks that momentum down instead of just saying, okay, you get here, we're going to the range. I want to bring you down some.
You
So I know
know,
the young boys is probably bored at first with that because it's kind of like even when they sign up for like basketball or something, they just want to get out there and play.
Yeah.
And then they get out there and they got to run all these drills before they even touch the ball. They're like, what is this?
Right.
Exactly. Because when you actually but I'll use that same analogy. Once you actually get into the actual real game, if you run in up a certain offensive play or something like that, if you don't know your positions, what coach gonna do? Pull you out and bench you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do the exact same thing. If you can't if you can't follow the safety protocol that I'm telling you, you coming off my range.
Absolutely.
Because
For
again,
your safety, their safety, everybody's safety.
exactly. And I just put it doing like this. You paid to be in this class. Now, do you want to waste your money or do you want to actually get something out of it? Because it don't matter to me one way or another, but I want you to actually learn if you're here, but you came here to me for a reason. And so
Right.
I'm going to give you my 1000% as far as being in and engaging with you. I don't give up on my students. I don't do none of that. But if you come in knowing more than I do, then okay, I'll put you to the test and see what you can do. If it don't work, then hey, sit down. Let's finish this.
Right. I think like my sister was shot before years ago. And so for her, you know, she's gone to the range, not with me, but with some friends, and she's okay to shoot at a range. But she said the noise still freaks her out. Like, you know, it's not her favorite thing to do. And I was like, she thinks it's because she was shot before, you know what I'm saying? So it's just something about even, like you said, picking it up. For her, it's that whole I'm shaking until you like, okay, you know, this is not going to hurt you. You know, all the safety procedures. You're just going to shoot at that target. It's not going to shoot back at you. And then she'll, okay, I got it. You know, but she literally has to be talked
Right.
into it.
And I mean, that goes, I can thank God I can say that I've never been shot before and I really don't plan on it, hopefully. But
Right.
it is a definite form of trauma
Yeah.
because I've dealt with people that have gone through that. They've had loved ones that got shot. They have children that have gotten shot. And so you have to deal with that as far as meeting people where they are.
You're right.
And so you can't, it's really that no child left behind thing is like, well, the class is going this way, so you're going here too. Like, no, okay, if you need some extra time, I got you, because you never know what somebody has been through.
So do you offer private instructions versus just the group instruction as well?
Absolutely. I actually do more private than I actually do group instruction.
Okay.
And it's simply because there's a lot of people that don't want everybody to know that they have a gun, or they don't feel comfortable enough to be around other people to where, okay, they feel comfortable being in a group. So I definitely take more private one-on-one classes than I really do anything.
Yeah, that's.
So
Were you saying something?
you froze up a little bit. Was you about to say something?
No, I thought you were. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. I just want to remind everybody in the chat, hit the like button. You know, subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, I think there's a thumbs up button. You can hit the thumbs up button. You can hit the share button as well to share the broadcast out on your Facebook page. And also make sure that you like and follow the Facebook page that you're watching this on. And you know, if you're on YouTube, do the same thing. Hit all the buttons. Get this algorithm popping.
Right.
You know, if you're enjoying the conversation, I think I just had it on the screen. But you know, if you find value in the show, make sure you support by via the Cash App. You know what I'm saying? You got the Cash App right there on the bottom, so y'all can support the show that way as well. And the question that I have for you, brother, is what's up with the social media, man? I know there's some great content. I know there's some great content over there to be had.
Man.
Like, do I need to come to Alabama with my with my Samsung and start filming and creating some content over there? Like, y'all got to put some content out, brother.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's like it's all kind of spread out because everybody has their own videos, whatever. I keep telling them, give it to me. I need that. But when I'm personally, when I'm on the range, I'm not concerned about a video camera or nothing like that. I'm in with my students. So I've had to, in the process of today's social media and all this stuff. So I've started to get videographers to actually come in on certain classes that I can. But again, with me doing more private one-on-one stuff, I respect people's privacy. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot more stuff, especially come around about the first of the year, that every time you turn around, you're gonna see something crazy.
Good.
We just gonna it's just gonna be like that. But I'm just like really this year has been the first time I've ever really been comfortable being in front of a camera because COVID, you really had no choice but to. I'm usually
Right.
I'm the one behind the scenes doing everything, whatever. So now I'm like, okay, I got to deal with what it is. So let me go ahead and just get used to this or whatever. So I'm kind of like an old soul when it comes to that, as far as the technology and all this stuff. I'm real heavy on Facebook,
Okay.
and I'm starting to get into Instagram a little bit more, but I know now I have a social media manager that takes care of all this stuff now. So
Okay.
once I start giving her content, we're gonna start posting a lot more things.
So where can we follow you on Facebook then?
It's Keith Jerald, KeithJerald. You will see my picture
Keith
pop up and say
Jerald.
NWA Firearms Training Defense Academy.
Awesome. All right. So you out there in Alabama, they're quite very gun friendly, right, in that state. So can you kind of talk a little bit about some of the basic, laws there? Because I'm in California, so everything is we have no
lot more strict, right?
very strict.
Yes. So I'll say outside of being a constitutional carry state, Alabama is probably one of the most pro 2A states that you can really be in. So if you got 15 minutes, a clean background, and that's it. That's all it takes to get you concealed carry permit here. So if you just go down and you just say, "Hey, I got my permit," I know what to do. That has the that you can't. It does not go to anything as far as like the actual gun safety, anything like that. So it's a gift and a curse. Now, would I like for it to be a mandatory class in order for you to get a certain your concealed carry permit? Absolutely. Business wise, yeah, it'd be great. But as far as just the overall knowledge of knowing what goes along with carrying a firearm, there's a difference between buying a gun
And carrying.
and being a responsible gun owner.
Mm-hmm.
There's two completely different things. Anybody with a clean background can go buy a gun, or anybody can go get Pookie and Ray know to go down there and buy whatever. But when it comes down to actually knowing the proper terminology, grip, stance, all this other stuff, also knowing the laws as far as where you can and can't carry, all that stuff needs to really be discussed, and that's why I really try and tackle in all of my classes. But with Alabama, I mean, it's an open carry state, so you don't need most people. I just have to go through the example. It's just showing that if I have a pistol on my side, if you can see it, I'm carrying legal. I don't need a permit. But as soon as like if I have a jacket on and if it covers that, if I got a t-shirt that covers that, if it covers it, I'm concealed now. So I got to have a permit. So
Got it.
it's just that simple, and you can get jammed up really quickly like that. And also one of the laws here that when I first started Iron City was really during the one of the things that was really heavy was God, what's that brother's name? That got killed by the police.
Philando Castile.
No, a little bit more recent, just a tad bit more recent.
In what state?
This was God, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Geez, why?
Minnesota. That was
No, it
Philando.
wasn't Minnesota.
Are you talking about
God.
Blake, the one who was paralyzed but not killed?
No, that's
No,
Wisconsin.
that was a little bit more recent. God, this is, and I'm ashamed of myself, but at the same, it's the fact that we have to say so many names until we got to figure this out.
Exactly.
And that's the saddest part. George Floyd. George Floyd.
Okay.
Right. So one of the biggest things like that really came out right when we were actually formulating Iron City, and so a lot of just like with the march that happened in Stone Mountain, a lot of people here were saying, "Hey, we want to go march. We want to do this. Want to do that." In the state of Alabama, we cannot march with our guns. So it's if we have a demonstration or something like that, you have to be completely unarmed. And even if you're parking close to there, your firearm has to be 100 yards away from wherever the meeting place is. So I think that's one of the things that was really left over from the Jim Crow era. Wow. So you really have to be in a leader of an organization like that. I can't just go off my emotions and say, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, whatever, because I can get people jammed up.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So I have to be versed on the laws, but is not too many that you have to deal with in Alabama. It's just, I would call it, if there is a such thing as common sense gun control. It
Okay.
just really is really common sense. Um, but outside of that, unless it's posted, you can pretty much carry anywhere that you want.
So
It's good.
how is it with law enforcement though? If someone that looks like us is openly carrying in that state, you know, are they getting pulled over more than anyone else? Like, are there incidents where, you know, things
It's
don't
Um,
really,
repeat all the time?
I'm
Like, how
waiting.
does
I
that
say
work?
so. Law is going to kick in.
Yeah.
yeah, it's more so like we really don't have that much of a problem if we don't. I mean, if we do, it's not really televised like that because most gun owners, like most police officers down here, know the gun laws in Alabama, and so they know that certain things, unless it's just totally egregious, or if you get pulled over and they smell marijuana in the car or something like that, then if you giving them a reason to pull you over or something like that, I mean, and then going into what to do, what not to do, hand positions, all that stuff. But outside of that, we really don't have too much of an issue with that. Is
Awesome.
but it's more so it's two steps forward, one step back, because as I say that, I know that there are certain parts of Alabama that even with this skin tone, I still wouldn't go. And
So
so
they
it's
still
just,
have sundown towns.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's, I mean, it's, I would hate to say it's a part of life, but it's more so, yeah, it's a narrative that I really hope would change. But again, you got to deal with what you deal with. So is you can't change the world, but you can change each person's life one person at a time. And hopefully eventually that ball will keep rolling. But you're not gonna stop something like that here in the deep south.
Right.
It's just way too ingrained for right now.
Yeah, it's definitely ingrained. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you're talking about a place like Alabama, just institutionally ingrained, and just all around the border. I know it's still pretty segregated out there as well, and so that's probably
Uh, it is I would say it's more of an economical segregation
Okay.
because we have we have gentrification just like anywhere else. So
mhm.
we had the inner city of Birmingham that had the housing projects and all this stuff, and so they're, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're developing Birmingham and it's becoming a beautiful city. I love my city. I don't take nothing away from it, but you see the progression of the inner city, and then as our people are getting pushed out, and there are certain areas that you really can't afford. Like one of our adjacent metropolitan areas, Mountain Brook, is actually one of the highest. Well, the home resale in Mountain Brook is one of the highest in the country. The median house in Mountain Brook goes for about $780,000. So there is a definite economic divide. So once we actually start building up, we can get into a whole nother conversation about that. But when it comes down to how it pertains to guns and everything, you have private ranges that are only for elites, and then you have some places that are just the hood. And so if you go in and just see, if you go into a hood gun range and nobody's really checking as far as gun safety and all this stuff, and everybody's just looking behind a screen, you don't have somebody active there saying, hey, don't do this, don't do that, or whatever, you never get any better. So now we just trying to change that narrative as well.
So when you guys are when you're training now, you're doing that in an indoor range or outdoor both?
I do both. I prefer outdoor, just simply because well, with it getting towards the winter time and it's getting a little bit colder, I kind of have to be a little bit more sensitive towards people that have certain things that, well, it's too cold or whatever. But I don't want to be the purveyor of doomsday or whatever. But I always tell, especially with my women, that I tell that it's coming for self-defense. Like, if you ever get robbed or something like that, do you think the robber's going to be concerned about how cold it is? Like,
Right.
you really have to train for what you could
The
be.
situation.
Yeah, so I mean, I try and do a majority outdoor, but some people just have no choice but to do indoor. So I rock with that.
Okay.
But I eventually want everybody to start doing outdoor because the sounds are not as, I mean, you got open air, so where the sounds are not as bad instead of echoing around, whatever. So, but I can do both. But again,
Now, are you
I'm
born
at
and
the end of the day,
raised
I'm a
in
coach.
Alabama?
Yeah, I was born and raised here in Birmingham.
You don't
My
really got the
dad's side of the
country
family.
accent.
I don't hear
I
an
know how to
accent.
switch it off and on when necessary. Like I know this is gonna be national, so I can kind of switch it off and on with. But since I actually have to kind of be careful around you because in college, one of my best friends was from Jersey, and
Okay.
so I pick up accents really easy. So when I was around, it's like, where did I start saying this word like this from?
Are you a Pisces?
Scorpio.
Scorpio. Okay, because I know that's a Pisces thing. Because I'm a Pisces, and if I'm around people that talk a certain way, I just automatically start picking it up. Like my wife or whoever's around, be like, "Why you talking like that?" I'd be like, "Oh no, this dude." It's like if somebody stutter next to you know I'm stuttering too. Like I don't know, it's weird as
Right.
hell.
I've been doing that since I was a kid, so it's like I pick up on accents real easy. But I know in certain situations, if I have to turn, if I have a switch that I can turn off the southern thing if I need to. But the closest thing, like if I really let it go, I sound like Ti. So
Oh, I heard it just now.
I really got to just watch it sometimes because I can talk with the slow drawl and all that. You know what I'm talking about? I can do all that, but it's just I know when to turn it off and on, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Hey, shout out to Cooley in the building as well, man. She the one that threw us the alley-oop to get our brother on the show. So we definitely appreciate you connecting
Thank
us
you.
with the brother making this happen. You know, shout out to the whole family in the chat. We appreciate all the engagement as well. Make sure you continue to hit the like buttons, the share buttons, subscribe to the channels, like the channel, depending on which platform you on. You know, make it do what it do. Now, are there any pathways to gun ownership for felons and ex-cons in your state or any states that you know about? Like, is there ways for people to get their rights back after being convicted?
I
Hard.
think Florida is working on that. I think, but as far as Alabama, that's really hard. I know that there were certain legislations that were actually working on that, but as of this point right now, I know Alabama is kind of at a standstill. But it just really depends. I've been working with city council to see if there was anything that could be done or whatever, but that's really more so on a federal level. But I would love to be uh, one of the ones in the forefront as far as that's concerned because I have homeboys that got jammed up before, but they still have a right to protect
Mhm.
themselves and their families. So
Absolutely.
if as long as it's not a violent crime or I would say rape or something like that, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And I know out here in California they are trying to do the same thing as long as it was a non-violent, felony.
Hmm.
And you can work on getting the record expunged after a certain period of time. They'll expunge it
Mhm.
so that you can get your firearm. But you have to have been out of jail for like a long period of time. I think it's like 10 years or 15 years. And you have to get it expunged. So you have to petition the court and the judge to expunge it.
Same thing here. Same thing here in Georgia, and it's really up to their discretion as well. So
Yeah.
ain't no guarantees as far as that's concerned.
Right.
But that's something that I'm working on myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I got an F on my record from New York, but I've been down here for a while, and it's been a while since I've been released from parole and all of that stuff too. So hopefully I can make that happen as well.
Right.
But my wife is good to go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna make it do what it do anyway.
Right. And so I mean, I
You
know
won't
that
catch
there are
me playing.
certain things as far as castle doctrine and stuff like that to where I know in certain states you can be covered depending on,
Yes.
but I always tell everybody like I'm not a lawyer. I didn't
Mhm.
practice law or anything like that. So if you really have something that you really want to know, go by your own state's case law.
Yeah.
And so figure out what's the case law for your state, for your situation, and then going from there. Don't just get advice from whoever you think may know something. Or,
Mhm.
I've been through this, I've been through that, because one situation is not going to be the mirror
Exactly.
of the other one. So make sure that you cover yourself.
Yes.
Great information right there. That's great information right there.
This was good. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I was excited about this one.
Man, it's my pleasure. It is my absolute pleasure, man. Thank y'all so much for the invite.
Oh, definitely.
And shout out to Kool-Aid, the one you gave her a shout out before. That's my secretary. So shout out to her. That's like my big sister. I mean, my whole staff is like my family, is like brothers and sisters. So I mean, that's all love. So I really do appreciate it.
Well, if you
Crown
ever come to
808.
California or whatever, I hope that you will link up with Redstone. Maybe we can do a joint
Well,
a Zoom class and have you come out with them and instruct.
That's Naga family, of course. Absolutely. I'm just not flying in with no guns, and I'm not taking any guns back. You're not jamming me up in California.
I feel like there's a story here of, like every other week somebody's getting jammed up at the Atlanta airport. Every other week I'm hearing a story like that. Like somebody accidentally done packed the ratchet. Somebody done, you know what I mean?
And they don't know how to properly. I mean, because number one, if you check reciprocity laws as far as where you're going, always check that first, even if it's just a layover.
Yeah.
Because you can get jammed up on a layover. So and I fly with my guns fairly often, but it just depends on where I'm going. Like I had to go to Chicago one time. That was one time I felt so naked because we don't have reciprocity. So I flew up to with one of my homeboys, that's the president of the gun club there. I was like, hey, bro, you got me up here because I'm not good right now. I'm not good. So, but again, it's just really knowing your reciprocity as far as where you can go, the layovers, and how to properly pack. Because just throwing it in a bag unloaded is not going to work.
Okay.
It has to be in its own lock box, with its own locks, and it has to be TSA approved or whatever. So, as long as you know how to travel with it, you're fine. But always make sure you take those extra steps because ain't nobody got time for TSA.
Yeah, especially in LA.
Facts. Now, you mentioned the Castle Doctrine earlier. For people that don't know what that is, can you explain a little bit what the Castle Doctrine is? And I know it's different from state to state, but
the basics.
Okay, so I give a general overall synopsis of it. Yeah. So Castle Doctrine, I'll say in its theory, is the fact that you have the right to protect your home, your business, or any place that you have a right to be. So, but especially covers like your home, your car, and that can kind of vary from state to state. But let's generalize it and just say it in your home. So, and even with that, there are certain protocols that come with that. So, if somebody breaks into your house, you have the right to defend yourself. But at the same time, you can't chase somebody down if they've actually broken into your house. Because if you shoot somebody in the
Texas,
back,
you can.
Oh, in California, you can't.
Yeah, because once they turn their back, it's no longer a threat. So just because they're in your house, they can give up and say, "Hey, I don't want no smoke," and they turn around and they leave. You can't just go behind them and start busting. You're gonna end up jammed up.
Yep.
And so it really, and if you want to get a good study for that, look at the Ahmaud Arbery case.
Exactly. Yep.
Once you turn around and say I no longer pose a threat, and if you actually are in a fight for your life, then let it be what it is. But as far as protecting your home, protecting your family, you do have a right to do that.
But isn't that what Amber Geiger used when she was in?
That's what I was thinking of when you said that. Not the Ahmaud
someone else's house, and they tried to use that same law for someone that was in the wrong house that killed a man in his own house.
Once I heard that argument for that, I was like, oh no, that's not gonna work, because the castle doctrine only works for your castle. So you can't come in and just be a colonizer and say, hey, I stake claim here, this is mine. That doesn't work. You are just saying that I thought that I was in the right apartment or wrong apartment. That's not up to you, because at the end of the day, if you're using deadly force, you better be sure of what you're doing. Right. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like such example.
Wow.
That's a fact. And so I got one of the websites up over here. I know you said one is under construction.
Right.
But I do
That's
want to.
because I actually going through and revamping my own personal one. So, yep, that's me. That is
There
my
we go.
back in that's my USCCA.
Okay, NWA Firearms Training and Defense Academy. And so you guys
Mhm.
can visit what is it? training.usconcealedcarry.com, and you could get some more information about some of the things that we're discussing here. There's some contact information on here. You want to walk us kind of through the website, brother? Let people know,
Yeah, it's
what we're looking at.
anytime I post a class, like what you're seeing over to the right are the available classes, and most of the time I've kind of slowed down for the holiday season because everybody is trying to be around family or whatever, and then spending money for Christmas or whatever. But come January 1st, all these are going to be full and then some.
Right.
So
Okay.
I will constantly be posting when I'm going to be having classes. And I do a lot of private stuff, and so that might not that I don't post that. So if you want private classes, you can always call or email me directly.
Got you. And so, you wanna give out your email? You want to give out the phone number? I mean, you want to let people know how they can
I
contact you?
mean, I have a business line, so I don't care about giving that one
Okay,
out.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's business line is
Sorry,
area
I don't
code.
understand.
Ain't nobody talking to you, Google. Be quiet.
All right. Business phone is area code 205-835-0321. Again, that's 205-835-0321. And if you want information about either my classes, Iron City Gun Club, whatever, you can always email me at icgc.naaga205 at gmail.com. Those two, that comes directly to my phone.
Got
So
it.
you got any questions about anything, and as long as it's, I mean, not just with Birmingham, with any state that has reciprocity with Alabama, I'm good. Or if I need to fly out somewhere, I've done classes everywhere. So I'm a road warrior. So I mean, any classes that I offer that I do, again, group classes, I do the women's classes. Like one of the things that I really got into was having like almost kind of like Tupperware parties per se. Is more instead of coming, I come in and teach a class to a group or whatever, because again, nobody's really trying to go out to the big meeting places, whatever. So I will come to houses. I do concealed carry and home defense classes in your house. I will show you how, if you needed to escape or if you had to draw down or whatever. Just I go through all that stuff specifically for your house.
Oh wow, okay. That's
And
awesome.
now I know this might be kind of difficult, but what about virtual? Will you be able to do like any type of virtual trainings, like at least showing people how to break the
I
gun
I
down, put it back
do.
together, clean it?
Oh yeah, I absolutely I do all that stuff on Zoom. I'm starting to do a series called First Things First. And so I can really handle a lot of things that I handle in the classroom via Zoom. So
Okay.
I'll have dummy guns, and then if I have someone that has a firearm that they showing in front of me, like I walk them through making sure the gun is clear before we start to doing anything. Because the last thing I want you to do is be in front of me, pull the trigger, something goes off, then all of a sudden I'm virtually responsible, even though I'm not even there. But most of the time I walk everybody through everything virtually. So when it's time to go to the range, you can be in and out, or we can start working on different drills. But again, COVID has changed the way that
Right.
you have to do business.
Right.
So change the times, change how you do things.
Got
So
to
Right.
I
be swift
definitely
and
do that too.
changeable. I think that was the wrong one that I had up. Let me put this up here. Is that correct on the screen? icg.naga205 at gmail.com.
That's it.
Okay. Leave that up for y'all for a minute, just in case anybody wants to jot that down or take a screenshot or whatever. So you could contact our brother. I'll put the phone number back up in just a second. So yeah, you're right, man. You got to be swift and changeable with the times. And some of it, I know for a lot of different businesses and people that we had on the show, the COVID thing has been more of a blessing because it expanded your horizons and showed you different opportunities that you didn't even know existed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, I look at it as a gift and a curse. Because
Right.
if anybody would have told me 13 years ago that I wouldn't have retired in the car business, I would have looked at them like they were crazy because I spent so much time into it. I was comfortable with it. I still, and one of the biggest things about being in the car business was, I mean, don't get me wrong, the money was good, but it was the fact of being able to help people in a situation. Like one of my specialties was dealing with secondary credit. So it wasn't the fact of being able to sell your dream cars, like being able to help build credit and all that stuff. And so
Right.
I really feel like I was helping to empower people. So with converting over to this, I can really feel like I'm really having a bigger impact. So it really was a blessing to me in the fact that I'm able to work for myself, do what I want, and I can actually see the results. I can see people overcoming their fears and having being able to show kids the proper way of doing things and having the kids actually catch on faster than the parents.
Yeah, my
That
son.
part is fun. I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, it is so rewarding. It is so rewarding
Yeah.
because kids actually listen. And so, I mean, honestly, it was again. I don't want to because I understand and recognize, and I feel sorry for everyone that lost somebody in this COVID thing. My mom
Gotcha.
lost one of her best friends or whatever. So I mean, I totally get it. But at the same time, I look at it as the business opportunity that I never would have thought of, which has been the ultimate blessing.
Right.
Absolutely, man. And you dropping a lot of great underlying principles. You know, this is the Black Business Showcase. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And when it comes to business, the first thing that most people think about is the money. You know what I'm saying? But you're talking about the intangible rewards, the other rewards that come with what you do, the passion behind
Right.
what you do, and the purpose that you're fulfilling, being able to impact people's lives and help other people. The money is going to come
Yeah.
automatically when you are doing those things.
Absolutely.
No matter
Absolutely.
what lane you in, no matter what type of business that you have, when you're able to impact people's lives in a positive way, when you're able to solve a problem. Our brother talked about how there were no black gun clubs in his area. There were no
Right.
black gun instructors that was out there doing. It was a whole wide open lane. So he identified a problem. He became the solution.
Right.
Anytime that you do that, that is literally the definition of business. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Find a problem and solve it. And
Right.
then on top of that is something that you're passionate about, something that is in line with your purpose, something that you've been doing since you were a child. You know what I mean? So when we think
Mhm.
about getting into business, these are the things, family, that we should be focused on. Because sometimes, you might want to be your own boss. You might want to be in a position where you want to fire your boss and start doing your own thing. But if you're just looking at an opportunity to chase the bag, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a fail. You know what I'm saying? Find the gifts that are inside of you, find what it is that you do best, and how you can use those things to solve a problem or to be able to impact other people's lives, and you will begin to make money. That's kind of like automatic.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, because is you hear the thing all the time. If you do what you love, um, like you
Never
never
work a
go
day in your
work
life.
a day in your life. It's it is still work. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
it is still work because you go from having one boss to everyone being your boss because everybody like you have to cater to different people.
Different people.
But if you just saying, hey, this is what I offer, and this is the standard of where I set myself, and don't cheapen your price just because they can't afford you now don't mean they can't afford you later.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cheapen your product because
So
I look at the fact of I've spent a lot of time, effort, and money into doing what I'm doing.
Facts.
And so
right.
I will offer certain things for the community or whatever, because again, being the leader of this gun club, I do take in mind the fact of what I do for the community. But for my
Mhm.
personal business, I know that I train at a certain level. Not to say that anybody else that I'm better than anybody else or
Right.
anything like
Think
that.
about that.
I just have a different approach. And I
Right.
know how far that I've taken my own personal training. And I'm not gonna just hold back on you just saying, well, you ain't paid for this, I ain't giving you this because you ain't paid for that. If you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it because again, you come to me for the information.
Mhm.
So I just look at the fact of putting the real value of what I do on paper and say, hey, this is what it is. And it's not the fact of just saying, well, I'm just throwing out this arbitrary number. Like I really can't back up what you're getting in this. Because 9 times out of 10, when you come to a range with me, most of the time you don't even have to bring your own gun. I have my own guns. I have my own. Bring the ammo, eyes, ears. all you got to do is come and bring an open mind.
That's
Wow.
different. That's
That's it.
different. You know what I mean? That's different. So you offering a lot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're gonna have to respect that ticket.
Right. That part.
Exactly.
Nicety.
Yes. So
We
I
get
wanted to segue, to my famous question, and it kind of went perfect with, what you just asked him and how he answered that. And I like to ask all our Black business owners / entrepreneurs, what does freedom mean to you?
there you go.
Freedom means getting up whenever I want to get up. Is And again, if it's still something that I got to get done that day, that's fine. But being able to say, hey, I don't want to work today. I want to go do this or I want to go do that. I mean, I can definitely do that. But I just know and understand that whatever I'm putting off, I'm gonna have to double up that next time.
Right.
But
Mhm.
it's being able to prioritize your own time, because you have to look at, if you're clocking in on a 9 to 5 job, you're not they're giving you however much you're making per hour for that part of your life. It's
Mhm.
not
Yes.
just time, it's a part of your life. And time is one thing is that I teach in my self-defense classes. One thing you can't get back is time. So are you really investing into a company that's going to invest back into you,
Right.
or are you going to take that time to invest in yourself? So once you make that separation and saying, well, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 job.
Right.
But if this is something that you're really looking into, just know that once you figure out one lane, somebody's going to be behind you, or they're going to follow that example. So what's going to make you be the best? Can you take that day off? Can you prioritize your time? Can you justify the money that you're trying to make? You
Right.
have to answer all these questions to yourself honestly first before you really step out here and just say, I'm gonna go LLC crazy and say, I got a business, I got a business. Can you really sustain your lifestyle based off of what you're planning to do?
Right.
And is there a lane? And if there isn't a lane for what you're trying to do, are you willing to put forth the effort and the work to be able to create that lane? So COVID afforded me the opportunity to have the time to create that lane.
Right.
But under normal circumstances, I just look at the situation of, I don't have any kids. I mean, I've been married, I've been divorced now for 6 years. So I really have to look at what I need to do for me. Now, if
Right.
I had a family, it'd be a different priority. It'd be a different mindset. So do what you gotta do until you're able to take that step. But once you go in, just know you have to go 1000% into it. But I just look at my background in customer service and being able to sell 20,000, 30,000, $100,000 cars, and just look at, I know that everybody else is my boss. So if I may not want to teach this class this day, or I may not feel like I don't want to go to the range today. That's not my call. I booked something, so I got to do that. So is you really have to have that servant's mindset.
But you have the
Man.
freedom, of course, to not do it. Of course, if
I
your
can
family's
postpone it.
getting together, or you want to go out with your boys. Hey, we going, to wherever, for the weekend. You have the freedom, to make those decisions because, you the boss.
Absolutely.
Options.
And I
Options,
mean,
options, options.
and again, coming from like, at one point there was no such thing as me having a weekend off, like a Saturday off. What is
Right.
that? What kind of foreign concept is that? So now I actually have that, and now I'm like, I would never clock in on a 9 to 5 on a Saturday ever again in my life. That's just one thing. One promise I made to myself as far as that's concerned. Now everything else,
Right.
everything I got to do from Monday to Friday is gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. But as far as doing a normal 9 to 5 job on a weekend where I have to be there,
Right. Mm-mm.
no,
Bought,
I've gotten spoiled now. I'm
you, bought,
spoiled.
Right.
you bought back that Saturday. You bought back that
Yes,
Saturday. You
all
know,
in my life.
that's what's up, man. Yo, great information,
Yes.
great advice, great jewels, great conversation. I could talk to you all night, man. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I
I
could literally
appreciate
talk
that,
to you
man.
all night, man. So we definitely got to get you back on sometime in the future because this is a great conversation for the family, and as we continue to grow our audience and stuff like that, there'll be new people here that need to get some of the same information. And also there's some questions that we didn't get to ask as well. So definitely appreciate your time. Appreciate you being with us. Oh man, this was
anytime,
great.
anytime y'all need me, man, I'm here, man. Anytime.
Thank you. You remember I called you and I was like, hey, I just realized I booked you on Thanksgiving. Is that gonna be okay? He was like, that's fine. We good. We good.
Yeah, like whatever it is. Like again, me being the boss, I'm like, cool. If that's the time we got, that's the time we got. I'll make it work. Right. And so I just had to look at the fact of I just gotta make sure I don't hit that third or fourth plate, so I don't have the itis. We'll be high. But no, I mean, I definitely love and appreciate the opportunity that you guys are giving, man. And again, y'all, I mean, I checked the show out before I got on here, so besides, y'all are doing an amazing work, man. So I shout out to both of y'all, man.
Appreciate
I'm so super proud of both of y'all.
Can you tell I'm an introvert?
Where?
Which part?
Where? No, not at all.
No.
Hey, not at all.
Hey, my mama said the same thing. She said, you tell that Miss Nicety, I don't know who told her she was an introvert.
I am. Y'all, my heart is racing. I start to sweat. I wish you can be like in my presence. I promise y'all be like, what is wrong with you?
Nah, I like to say I'm probably the most extroverted introvert you will ever meet. But I know it once. I mean, I see you've been doing this a while. So when the camera start rolling, all this stuff goes away. So you may be something else behind the camera, off camera. But right now, nah.
Yeah.
The introvert wear.
Yeah, definitely.
You're not one either, then.
I kind of forced myself out of it. I've had to force myself out of it.
Okay. You just said it. The extroverted introvert.
Yes, I'm the most extroverted introvert you will ever meet because I have to run lines and run ranges and all that stuff. So and then I'm running classes that I got 20, 30 people that are paying attention to me or whatever. So I have to be able to command a presence. But at the same time, once that's over with, I'm in my car, I'm in my cocoon. The world don't exist no more. So it's a balance of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody that's tuning in on Facebook. This is our first time live on Facebook, y'all. We will be live on Facebook from here on out. So you have that option. You can watch us on Facebook or you can watch us on YouTube. So it's youtube.com/Sincere Love to God. And the Facebook channel is Sincere Love, which you guys should know because you're watching it from there right now. But make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share this out. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and that you click the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we go live with new episodes. Make sure that you all are following me. I'm at Sincere Love to God on all social media platforms. Nicety Girl, let them know where they can follow you at.
At Nicety Girl with the number 1 at the end on IG, as well as Twitter without the 1 on the end. You can find me there. Just Nicety Girl.
And my brother is coming on social media as well. You about to make your grand entrance into the social media space. So for now, it's just Facebook, right?
Yeah. But I'm kind of loosening up, getting ready for that because my club armorer has been on me about like he's got his wife actually has a strong following. Shout out to Miss Red Phoenix Defense. Y'all go check her out on YouTube. And so he went from having his channel to actually putting everything behind her. And so as far as the content that they have on it, and so he's on me like, bro, you need to get out here. You need to get out here. That's where everybody is. I'm like, all right. Cause it's just like, okay, I was really more so into, again, I spent this year into getting all the credentials that I wanted. Right. Now I get to actually be the face of what I'm trying to actually portray now. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and get into it. So
we're excited.
If you need any pointers as far as social media is concerned too, like that's kind of my lane. You know, I've been studying digital real estate for over a year now. You know what I'm saying? In the digital real estate program with Brother Ben X. Shout out to Brother Ben X. Shout out to the whole ABS tribe and all the coaches and teachers over there. So I know a couple of tricks of the trade, man. If you need any pointers on, you know, how to get your page popping, how to attract the right type of followers. You don't want to just have a gang of followers that ain't even tapped into what you do, but how to attract the right people to your page and, you know, as far as like, you know, editing videos and you know, how to post things and, you know, stuff like that, just hit me up anytime. I got you, man. I love
I'll
sharing
definitely take you up on that,
stuff
man.
like that.
I'll definitely.
Yeah.
Man.
Love sharing stuff like that. And so, since you said you had checked out some of the previous episodes, so you know I'm about to put you on the spot, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can shake off the turkey real quick. All right.
Right.
Oh, I hope it's only on my side because now it's looking a little janky. Hold on.
There, it's fine.
It's fine. All right, cool. So yeah, man. So you got the microphone. You know the whole Black community is listening. What do you need everybody to know before you get out of here? What's the jewel you want to drop on us?
All right. The most important thing that I would ever want to say, as far as when it comes to firearms is concerned, is know your rights. You had too many people fight and die for what most people may take for granted. And so if I had to give advice of anything, get into the literature of behind what you're trying to do. If I had to give suggestions on books on the black tradition of firearms, We Will Shoot Back, The Negro and the Gun. It's so much different literature to where if you're saying that if you know the history of where this comes from, as far as what has been fought for your rights to be, at least have the option to do this, it might be able to change your mindset. And don't just go off of what the media tells you as far as the numbers or whatever, because if it bleeds, it leads. So the first thing that they're going to say is certain people got gunned down or blah 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 blah, and they don't give the full statistics. So I just look at the fact of do your own research, find out what's right for you. Don't just go off of what I say or what anybody else says. Just do what's best for you, because it's a right. That don't necessarily mean you have to exercise it, but if you do, make sure you do it in the right way.
Right.
Absolutely. Great insight right there. Definitely appreciate that. Once again, everybody, we appreciate y'all tuning in to the Black Business Showcase. We will be back on Sunday. I don't even know. There's so much stuff going on. I don't even know what the main topic is going to be this Sunday yet. We're going to have to talk about that with the team behind the scenes to figure out
next topic.
You know, what's going to be the bullseye topic. But, you know, we're going to be covering, you know, all of the current events taking place, that important issues that are affecting the Black community. Sunday, that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, you can watch us on YouTube or you can watch us on Facebook. So make sure you are following us both on social media so that you could be in tune with the updates and, you know, whatever we got going on, just in case we have to change to a different time or anything like that. If you're following us, we'll always be updating things on our social media platforms. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. Everybody that's in the chat room, make sure you are paying attention to the links that Jackson Harlem, View of One have been putting into the chat room as well. Those are important links where you can support the family, support the team, things that we got going on. And so, yeah, just be on the lookout for, you know, new content. We definitely working on this thing. Trying to build the audience up. So make sure you tell a friend to come tune in. Make sure that you share this out. All of that good stuff. And I'm gonna play one of my videos before we leave. I usually only open up the show with a video, but I realized that I got a song that kind of coincides with this topic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got a music video that coincides with the topic. So before you guys sign off, I'm gonna end the show, but stay tuned for you know how you watch the Marvel movies and they got like a little extra scene after the credits roll.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be one of those episodes. So after we roll the credits, y'all gonna get to see one of my videos. Let me get it queued up before I say our parting words and all of that. You know what I mean? But again, family, always remember, we are not the master teachers. We are only the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media.
And please make sure you stay tuned for a Sunday show as we bring you guys another great episode of the Sincere Love of God cast as we take you all Black to the future.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, family.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank
all right,
you.
here we go.
Here we go.
By the way, this is a short film by me and my brother DJ RP Beats, featuring myself or starring myself. Sincere Love to God. It's a short film. The first song is called I got it on mute. Let me take it off mute. The first song is called Coming to America, and the second song is called Reloaded 2.0. So here we go.
Whatever changes you have to make, and you just do it. You got to think about your life. Being a black man in America isn't easy. The hunt is on, and you're the prey. All I'm saying is, survive.
All right. Born black in this white man's world, yeah, that's that Pac shit against all odds. And besides, what's the options? We wasn't never supposed to make it to see greatness since they chained us naked in the belly of slave ships. But we came before Columbus. Well, some of us, they stole our birthright in plain sight right in front of us. Africa is the throne, but planet Earth is our home. We indigenous to the globe, let it be known. These are hidden colors. Free my sisters and brothers. Let them know that they stars just like what's sitting above us. Cause Jesus ain't coming, Muhammad ain't coming. 8 whole years and you see Obama did nothing. Peace to that brother though, he is a dope symbol. Beautiful wife and kids, but that ain't the issue. It's deeper than rap, matter of fact, it's deeper than black. It's spiritual warfare, I'm just speaking the facts.
You wanna know something though, Sam? You was always right, bro. You know what I'm saying? We was on the road to destruction from the beginning. Wasn't trying to head, you know? But now, you know, the minister showed us the right path. Trying to take that path. Listen, dog, we all make mistakes, especially me. If you got a chance to make it right, make it right.
Is this the land of the free or the home of the brave? With over 1 million melanated men in the cage. Politicians ain't backing us. Race soldiers, they capture us at a higher rate than the nation of South Africa. That was apartheid. This is a Holocaust. This is more than a rhyme. This is a Molotov for coons and house niggas. This is for the bourgeois. And we don't want to hear that weak shit no more. My verse should be in your Bible. I'm nicer than all your idols. It's easy to see the future. History goes in cycles, but we don't live off the past. We just live in the math. Salata Mustaqim. We just stick to the path, regardless to who's in office. We always know they on offense. Blood sucking the poor, putting poison in niggas' water. So I don't trip off no Trump shit. Miss me with the dumb shit. America the beautiful, we love you, you cunt, bitch.
Now more than ever, I can see error in our way.
Oh, me for the backwood. Backwood kill me. Be like, you kill me. You be putting that rope around my neck yourself. What you think you is, a hound dog? Backwood say, go fetch, you fetch. You see me hang, you're gonna know. You're gonna know you kill a black brother.
Y'all, they want to do me like Diallo, but I'm feeling like I'm Nat Turner. Then Mark Beasley, I'm feeling that courage. Envision Harriet Tubman holding a musket. I'm famous as Larry Davis, frustrated with fuck shit. All I seek is justice, all I see is corruption. Think of Khalif Browder story, shit is disgusting. See, white supremacy don't play scrapper. Why the fuck you think they named Rikers Island after a slave catcher? They see blacks as the enemy. I'm bringing back memories of people like Jean-Jacques Dessalines. They want to test the team. I'm detonating like Pablo Esco, regulating the Medellin. I smell a Frenchman miles away in guerrilla war. I'm Francois Dominique, Toussaint Louverture, the God MC that studied the Gullah Wars with the wisdom of Noble Drew Ali and some other Moors. I'm refocused. Why would I keep hoping? Done with all that praying and marching, I'm reloading. I'm refocused. Why would I keep hoping? Done with all that praying and marching, I'm reloading.
Yeah, but I could've got away on BBU catching. You remember that? You remember that all day? You killed. You remember that? You killed. Niggas like you just proved what the Peckerwood say. We're just beasts, willing to do anything, kill each other.
Yo, we die for selling cigarettes, die for selling CDs, die of a broken tail light in front of your wife and see they live streaming. Unless you die in the precinct, they say you suicidal, then we hashtag rest in peace. I'm feeling seasick every time that I see this. Scrolling down my timeline, wish I could just delete it like it never happened. On second thought, why we let it happen, crying on TV, begging for compassion from people with no conscience. My people so lost, we just pray away our problems like Jesus is gonna solve it. They give us hush money, man, miss me with that civil suit. You kill my baby, then cocksucker, I'm killing you. No negotiating, I know you Satan, I know you hating, I know you caveman. Caucasus Mountains, know where you came from. I did the knowledge, and though I ain't did it in college, I got a flow to let you know that I'm mentally growling. James Baldwin with the pen, told the judge I was sovereign. Besides, they ain't even have a warrant. He looked at me and said, stop. I don't care if you're standing in your square with your head cocked, my decision is Dred Scott, nigga.
Speak while I ain't gonna die like you gonna die, like a slave. I ain't giving no lifetime of misery and what this Peckerwood. I'd rather die than be a slave. You Peckerwood, that's right. You Peckerwood was oppressed in your own land. We was free, and you brought us here in chains. But now we here, and you just better know this is just as much our land as it is yours. And after you hang me, kiss my ass.
Master Elements music.
The motive of a revolution, the objective of a revolution, and the result of a revolution.
Master Elements music.
You're not a gangster. You are the very people of God.
I'm telling you, you don't know what a revolution is.
Lyrics that speak to the pain and the suffering and the low-down life of the black man and woman.
Master Elements music.
Therefore, you see, when you let another people take over your music, when you let another people take over your dance and attach their content to it, they will use your own music and your own dance and your own rap lyric and your own poetry and your own cultural symbols to carry their message into your body and into your mind.
Master Elements music.
You do have a responsibility to wake up, clean up, and stand up.